All right, wonderful. Thanks for letting me know. I'm going to keep an eye on this questions box as we go through our webinar today. I may not answer your question right away, though. I might wait and save it for the end just to make sure we get through all of the slides. I am going to try to save about 10 minutes towards the end to go over any questions you might have. And yes, a recording will be available towards the end or after the webinar is over. We always, well, I say always, we always try to record them and so that they're available to folks after the live webinars to listen to at their convenience. So I can also send you a PDF copy of the slides, and if you'd like that, just let me know in the questions box. I have participant notes I print out after the webinar, and I can see who asked for them, and I'll put you all on a blind email and send you the slides that way, okay? So we got a good group on today. Today we're doing healthy weight for life, the art of maintaining. So kind of assuming that you've met some of your weight loss goals, and we want to avoid the unfortunate regain, getting them back, getting those pounds we lost and worked so hard to get rid of. Again, I'm Stacy Wheatley. I'm a registered and licensed dietitian, and I tell folks that I love food so much I majored in it. And I am one of the clinical health consultants for True Health Diagnostics. So I consult with patients on the phone and in the office about their lab reports. We are included in the lab report for 12 months from the date of the last report. So if you guys have lab reports in the last 12 months and you want some individual attention, if you haven't gotten it already, give us a call at True Health Client Services. That number is 877-443-5227 and get set up with one of us, okay? But we do these webinars. They're national webinars. They're free, whether or not you have a report with us or not, just to introduce you to True Health and give you some good information. So we have these about twice a month, and I believe most of you folks will probably have seen this announcement in your email, but we also advertise these on our Facebook page. So if you're not already following us on Facebook, you can do so and continue to get updates on the blogs that we're writing and the webinars we're having that are coming up. And that's about all of the housekeeping type stuff. A lot of us have kind of trickled in and continue to trickle in. I'm going to go ahead and get started so we make sure we get through all of the slides and get to answer any questions you might have towards the end. Okay, so how to maintain weight loss again. You know, we're kind of assuming that you've lost the weight, but the battle is not over. It's keeping it off. You know, a lot of folks struggle with kind of the yo-yo dieting, losing it and then gaining it back, and that frustration. So, scary truth, after 2 years, most dieters weigh more than they did before they started, quote, dieting. So, you know, the term diet, I'm sure you've all heard, it just kind of, it implies that something's temporary, that there's a start and a finish. But what happens after you're finished? How do you maintain what you lost? And some folks will assume, you know, all doctors and dietitians are healthy or, you know, have all their ducks in a row, but truthfully, we don't always. I myself was about 15 pounds heavier at one point and managed to lose about 40 and put some back on the right way in terms of muscle. So I'm not just preaching. I'm practicing what I preach as well. So we're going to find out today how to keep a healthy weight for life, and discuss whether weight maintenance is something you can stick with for a lifetime. So consider it an art, and today we're gonna walk through an acronym, the art of weight maintenance. And it's true that a lot of folks tend to lose it and gain it back, but you don't have to be part of that statistic. A lot of folks, when they get in that yo-yo type dieting, feel like they're out of control. But we're going to go through lots of aspects of weight maintenance to help put you back in control of your weight and keeping tabs on it. So the art of maintenance. A is for activity, staying physically active. A lot of folks, sometimes, if you have a significant amount of weight to lose, either increasing physical activity or changing your diet is enough to kind of cause weight loss. And that may make you feel like, I hate exercise. I was able to do it with diet alone. You may not always be able to just rely on diet alone. The body is a funny thing, and physical activity is important, not just for weight maintenance, but the overall health of your heart and cardiovascular system and all that. R is for reward and remind. We'll discuss more how to reward yourself without food, and how to remind yourself how far you've come. T is for tracking food intake and weight. It can be tedious, I agree, but it's oftentimes very important to study yourself and see what's really going on. O is offer to help others, and this is a big one for myself. Obviously, it's my profession, but to invite friends along or people that are going through the same thing. If you had some sort of success with it, inspiring someone else can help keep yourself on track. F, find your motivation. And then maintaining. M is for mindful eating. We'll talk more about that. What is mindful eating versus mindless eating? A is arrange or plan meals ahead of time. I recently did a meal planning webinar that had some good feedback, good attendance. That recording is available to you guys just by going back to the flyers and using the same link. I is imagine a hunger scale. We'll talk about whether you're truly hungry or bored or thirsty, and kind of putting it on a scale. N is for never get totally empty. A lot of times we tend to rebound and go overboard when you're just ravenously hungry and famished. T is for think positive. A is for activities that are non-food related, kind of like rewarding yourself with things that aren't food. You want to find activities that are non-food related. We celebrate with food for every possible reason. So finding activities and doing things with friends and family that don't revolve around that can be helpful. I is investigate what works for you. One shoe doesn't fit everyone. So what worked for one person may not work for you. And likewise, what worked for you may not work for somebody else. So find the right combination of things that are feasible for you. N is for enjoying pleasant meal times. I'm a personal believer in that, in trying to focus on meals, enjoy what you're eating, sit down, eat in an eating place, take time. I work out in the afternoon or in the evenings, and so I'm funny about it. I want to be clean when I have my meal because I enjoy it better without, dreading, I have to get in the shower after this. I include a red flag list. What are your triggers? Stress or sadness? Are you an emotional eater? Is there a person who kind of poses a red flag, brings you down, always wants to go get ice cream? N is for never stop taking care of yourself. It's ongoing. And G is for making a goal ladder, staying future focused and keep moving. Don't just stop once you've met one goal. So we'll start with the first 5, or the art of. A is for activity. Physical activity is the best predictor of weight loss and maintenance. So physical activity over diet is more predictive of weight loss maintenance. So if you get that under your belt, literally, it's a better predictor that you'll keep the pounds off. It's vital for maintaining healthy weight. The goal is 45 to 60 minutes of moderate activity on at least 5 days each week. So what is moderate activity? You should be a little short of breath. If you can sing, you're probably not doing moderate. It's probably light. You want to be able to have a conversation, but be slightly short of breath. And then again, if you can't sing, or if you can't talk, then that's might be too intense. But whatever you do, do it consistently. One of my goals with patients when we're working on physical activity is to pick something that is enjoyable. Don't pick running just because you believe it's the best thing for weight management. I personally can't stand running, so I would not pick running as my desired or my activity, my physical activity of choice, because I can't be consistent with it. I don't like it. I get shin splints. So don't pick something you don't like and make that your activity of choice. Walking would be better. I'm personally one of the crazy people that prefers CrossFit, and that's the thing that I like to do and I enjoy. So I am likely to do that consistently. Moderate exercise is generally safe for everybody, but if you've got physical limitations, your knees, your back, your hips, things like that, you need to talk with your doctor before you get started, of course, and that goes without saying. All right, add activity and movement to your day. And y'all probably heard a lot of these tips. I was recently at my best friend's house on Monday, and she works from home, and she said just so she doesn't get sedentary, she has a standing desk. So she stands most of the day while she's working instead of sitting down. And I think that there's even some folks are referring to as sitting disease, or from sitting too long and being physically inactive, that brings about risk factors for chronic disease. So get moving. Try to stand up. I also have patients who set little timers on their phone to remind them to get up every hour and just stretch, walk around, go to the water fountain, go to the bathroom, but try not to sit for extended periods of time. Of course, taking the stairs. A good rule of thumb is if you're trying to make it at least 3 flights. If you work in a hospital and it's got 10 flights of stairs, it's going to take you forever to get back up to your floor. But perhaps only walking 3 of the flights and then taking the elevator the rest, or taking 2 and then taking the elevator for 2. But dividing it up, getting a few more steps every day, parking further away, or taking a brisk walk around your home or neighborhood. Let's see. Find somebody at work. See if they want to walk at lunchtime. That camaraderie and the accountability of taking someone with you can help keep you on track. And again, find a class or a gym you enjoy. I think a lot of times, gym memberships go to waste because if people don't enjoy it or they don't really know what to do. But there's so many different ways to be physically active, so many different hobbies and things you can do to get that activity without doing something you don't like, forcing yourself to do something you don't like. R is for reward and remind. Reward yourself. It shouldn't be about deprivation, all the time. And a lot of times it works best if you can occasionally give in. As far as like treats and sweets and food goes, if you are going to reward yourself with that, keep it, limited and confined. And by that, I mean out of the house. So, a lot of folks, if you're going to, have a treat with ice cream, don't go buy the whole half gallon and keep it in the refrigerator and pretend you're not going to go back in there. That just leads to temptation. But make it an event. If you're going to do it, take somebody with you and go to Yogurt Mountain or go to Marble Slab and get a small ice cream. And then when it's done, it's over. It's not in the refrigerator for you to go back to. Similarly, if you are going to bring it in a house, maybe try to get something that's an individual serving, or just 1 to 2 servings, so it's not easy to go back and dip in multiple times and then start reinforcing bad behaviors. Remind yourself why you need to stay vigilant, such as keeping old photos available to remind you of your past weight issues, or Photos of other people even. A lot of patients say, well, my mom was diabetic and she lost her leg, or my dad ended up with glaucoma or whatever. Keep a picture of that loved one around to remind you, yes, you love them, but you don't want the same fate, to kind of keep you on track. I've even heard of some folks doing like vision boards, and they pull out pictures and motivational quotes and keep them on a wall in the closet or behind a cabinet, and kind of remind yourself what you're after and stay motivated on a regular basis. And to remind yourself to let your previous weight loss results be encouraging, even if it's 5 to 10% of your body weight. That's significant. Don't belittle that or minimize that just because you might have a lot more weight to go. Even if you fall short of the original target, just at least it's the right direction. And then sometimes if you've had a particularly difficult week, a lot of stress, maybe you've given in to certain things, just maintaining is a success in itself. But don't beat yourself up, get back on track and keep going. As sometimes I tell patients, it's not, you can fall off the wagon as long as you're not off the reservation. And T, track your food intake, weight, and activity. This seems tedious, I know, and I agree to some extent. But personally, I've tried different ways to track things. One time I was using something called the Fit Book. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it's a 6 by 6 inch little journal. And I find it more often online now on Amazon or like fitbook.com. I used to be able to find it at Target, but I don't think they carry it anymore. It was in the exercise section, not the journals section. But you can document your exercise on one side of the page, your food on the other side of the page. You set goals for every week. You set goals for every month, and so it helps keep you on track that way. But the point of the story is that I used to think I only ate out 2, maybe 3 nights a week, right? Or ate out 2 or 3 times a week, and nights excluded. And then when I really tracked it, when I wrote down everything I ate, I went back for the week and circled every meal that I had eaten out of the house or I didn't bring with me. And instead of, if you go by 21 meals a week, I had eaten 7. Fit Book, F-I-T, Fit Book. Now, I realized I'd eaten 7 of the 21 standard meals out of the home, meaning a third of my meals were out of my control. We talked about having control in the beginning. Even if I ate at work and tried to make good decisions, I still wasn't in control of how the food was prepared. Even if you go to a restaurant and say, well, I got a salad, or well, I got grilled chicken, yes, but you still didn't make it yourself. You didn't choose the source of the chicken. That's correct. Fit's Book. So you didn't have control over that. So, and then I looked closely at those 7 meals and what can I do to, because I wanted to be at 3 or 2, and come to find out, I found areas which, I could easily improve meals that, and either bring them with me or eat at home. So that's my personal story. The Fit Book was one way I did it. Another way, I'm sure a lot of y'all have tried, is the MyFitnessPal. I really like that one. That's an app for your smartphones and iPads and iPods and iPhones. I like it because it's got a huge database. No matter what you eat or where you eat, most of the time it's already in their database. I don't feel like a lot of the other trackers have as extensive a database as they do. I also like MyFitnessPal because we tend to get too focused on calories and just maintaining to a 1,200-1,500 calorie diet. They can give you a pie graph of where your calories are coming from, whether it's what percentage is coming from carbohydrates, what percentage is coming from protein, what percentage is coming from fat. And if your carbs are eating up 50 to 60% of your calories, that's a warning that there's too much. You may be eating a 1,200 calorie diet, but if it's all carbohydrates and you're insulin resistant, the weight's going to be harder to get off. So you can look at it in different ways. I also recently discovered as you're tracking your food, if you hold your phone upright, it'll only show the calories, but if you flip it to the side, it'll blow out all the other nutrition information. So I think it's user-friendly, it's free, and it provides you a lot of information to study yourself. And then there's all sorts of other workout trackers. I use MyWOD to track my CrossFit exercises. And that keeps me on track because then I know it'll show me a calendar and I know exactly how many days a week I worked out just by quickly looking at that. And then you can also see progress from one year to the next or from one workout to the next. If you repeat it and you've tracked how you did, then you can see if you're improving, and that helps keep you motivated. So you don't want the scale to be in control, but it can help to know where you are. Now I'm guilty of it to some extent, but get off the scale more than once a week. Your weight is going to fluctuate, especially as ladies. It's going to fluctuate significantly, maybe 2 to 5 pounds throughout the week. So you want to limit it to maybe once, maybe twice a week. Keep the scale in the same place, weigh the same way, such as after you wake up, after you use the bathroom, and before you get dressed. So that the variables at least are consistent and you know where you are. And if you have to, put the thing up. If you're going to be tempted to keep jumping on and off it, put it back up in the closet until the next Friday to weigh yourself. But the scale also doesn't tell the full story. You might also want to do take your measurements with that tape measure. Measure your hips, measure your waist, measure your chest and your arms. That way you don't get down on yourself because the scale's not moving. If you're losing inches, that's still a good success. How your clothes are fitting is an important, good indicator of how you're maintaining. Again, a friend of mine I met up with this past week. She has been exercising consistently over the last 2 months, and I mean, she looks drastically different. And I said, how much weight have you lost? She goes, I don't know. I haven't weighed. Wow, that's impressive. But she said she does know she has lost 2 pant sizes. So there's other ways to measure, and who knows, maybe if she had gotten on the scale, it would have been self-defeating. So it's a tool, but it's only a tool, and doesn't define your success. Okay, it's a good way to build awareness and keep yourself accountable. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to track all the time, but personally, I'll track pen and paper, such as the Fitbook, for a couple of weeks, and then I'll take some time off. Take a couple of weeks off. I think I got this. I'm doing good. And then I might say, I don't really want to go back to the pen and paper. I'll use my Fitness Pal for a while. Just to keep tabs on yourself, but you don't have to make it unpleasant or this laborious type process. Studies have shown that writing it down helps people more clearly see areas of opportunity, especially like that black and white thing, that Fitbook I talked about, or whatever, pen and paper. If you do it in pen and paper, the old-fashioned way, you can, I would go through and say, well, I highlighted how many times I had bread or pasta, and then you can set a goal to reduce that. Or, like I said earlier, I circled how many times I went out, and then you can focus on how to reduce that. A little harder to do in a smartphone. But there's so many things that we're doing that you can tweak and improve on to help keep you on track and keep your weight down. And then some, like I mentioned, smartphone apps, many websites like Spark People, My Fitness Pal, things like that can help you keep track. Fooducate is another one. Fooducate. And they have a nifty app that has a lot of different, I believe they have like little YouTube videos attached and research articles attached and things like that. Offer to help others. If you see somebody struggling, offer to give them a hand. Chances are good somebody's helped you at some point along the way, and that is going to be good to help keep you on track. It also reminds you of the best strategies for staying healthy, or they may even have an idea that you haven't thought of to help you along your way. Also, make your needs known, make your goals known to others around you, your coworkers, your family members, your friends. Tell them what your plans are, and who knows, they might be interested in doing it with you. A lot of times it's better to have a partner than go alone. The only way I've stuck to exercise, I'm convinced, is because I either had a partner or did it with, as a group. So honestly, I did not start exercising until 5 years ago. I'm ashamed to admit that, but and the only reason I did it was because my best friend was doing it, and she had good success, so I wanted to do it too. To go by myself, I find that I dread it, and I'm less likely to go. F is find your motivation. What motivates you to get and stay fit? Part of mine is you guys. Part of mine is my job, to stay healthy, to make sure that my labs are green when I get them back. My other motivation is my family, my husband, my kids, and also, I have a significant history of heart disease, particularly on my dad's side. So I'm aware of that and need to stay on top of that. Feeling great every day instead of feeling run down and tired all the time. Like I said earlier, being able to play with kids or grandkids. I am so motivated, like when I get a patient who's, in their 70s or 80s and just so motivated to take care of themselves and to exercise, and health isn't limited to your younger years. You want to be there as long as possible to see everybody grow up and be as healthy and enjoy it, have a quality of life as well as quantity of years. All right, so that was the art of, and now we're going to talk about maintaining. So mindful eating, regular meals and snacks. Just as when you lost weight, usually most people, I'm generalizing, but most of the patients I've worked with that lost the weight ate fairly regularly. They didn't skip meals or save their calories. They ate something regular, even if it's a small meal or small snack. I also encourage regular small meals and snacks for my patients who are insulin resistant, or especially those that are diabetic, to kind of keep the blood sugar stabilized and provide regular fuel to get through the day. This Mark McDonald guy wrote that your body is a refuel as it goes machine, which means it needs to be consistently fed to provide energy to live. Another way to illustrate this is like your car. Your car is not going to drive itself. It's not going to automatically refuel itself. You have to put gas in it every 3 hours that you're taking a long trip. Otherwise, it's going to stop. Kind of like us, especially if you have a metabolic imbalance or hormonal imbalance. You want to be refueling every couple hours. So, and plus it helps prevent overeating later in the day. I do get a lot of questions about intermittent fasting and things like that. I think that is, something worth considering for folks that have a stable, more normal metabolism. But for majority of the folks I work with, I try to get them on something small for breakfast if they're not a breakfast eater, and at least if there's a long period between meals, if there's 7 hours between meals, trying to put something small in between to keep you going. Also include lean protein, healthy fat, or fiber-rich fruits and vegetables at every meal and snack. When we talk about protein and carbs and fat, I kind of compare it to building a fire. Carbohydrates tend to be like gasoline. They're a quick source of fuel. They burn high and bright, quick, and then they burn out, if you think of lighter fluid on a match. But proteins and fat, they metabolize much slower, keep you fuller longer, just like wood burns longer on a fire. And the best fire you can make is going to be one with a little bit of wood and a little bit of fuel, a little bit of gasoline. So when we eat snacks that are just carbs, like we had pretzels, or we had a candy bar or things like that, it's like pouring gas on a match. It's going to burn high and bright, and then it burns out, and you're hungry again. Also, for folks that are insulin resistant, you eat, your blood sugar goes up, your body makes insulin. Oops, it makes too much insulin, and now you have a blood sugar low, and now you feel like you need to eat again. The protein and the healthy fat help keep you fuller longer and prevent that kind of rebound of your blood sugar. And then keep drinking water and keep healthy snacks handy. We'll talk about this in a minute with the hunger scale, but sometimes we confuse thirst or hunger for thirst. Sometimes you're actually thirsty, and most of us are walking around very dehydrated. So being mindful about drinking your water. Some days you may not make it to the gym, your diet may not be on point, but more likely than not you can drink water. So that is one of the most important things you can do for your health. So a good rule of thumb is about half of your body weight in ounces of water a day. And that seems like a lot. Some of you guys are doing the math going, oh my God. It's a lot more than we would have thought we need. But that 8 ounces of water a day, 64 ounces, is probably fine for a 150-pound woman. But a lot of us are not 150 pounds. So we need a little bit more than that. 140-pound woman, I guess. So keep healthy snacks handy. If they're not handy, you're probably going to reach for something that you're craving or something that tastes good. So keep nuts handy. Keep a piece of fruit handy. Things like that. Mozzarella cheese sticks, hard-boiled eggs. Those are some things I like to keep on hand for a quick, more healthy snack. Arrange or plan meals ahead of time. My mom used to say prior planning prevents poor performance, and I definitely agree. So it does take some planning, it does take time, but it prevents those snap decisions, those bad decisions we might make in a bind. Write a list for the grocery store. Nothing I hate worse than going in the grocery and going, I think I need X, Y, and Z, and then you get home and go, oh, I forgot A, B, and C. Now I got to go back. That takes a whole another hour out of that day that I have to go back, where if I had planned, it would have taken 10 minutes. Prepare veggies, salads, and lean protein ahead of time. A barrier to snacking on fruits and vegetables is the fact that you have to pare them down and wash them. So what if you did that when you got home from the grocery store as you're putting things away? Go ahead and get your cutting board out, cut the veggies, pull some grapes off of the stems, and prepare things ahead of time so that they're ready to grab and go, and that prep isn't a barrier for you. This is something I'm pretty religious about, packing a lunch or breakfast the previous night. Always think ahead. Don't wait until the morning you're running 10 minutes late and go, oh God, I got to eat breakfast. I'll just get something on the way. Try to have something ready for you. For example, this is this week's menu. This is part of one of the tools I used in the meal planning webinar. And when planning our meals, and many of you probably already do this, but I start with dinner. You know, what meats do I have on hand? When are we going to go out or have dinner at a friend's house or whatever, and eliminate those meals so you see, you know, what you have to prepare for. You know, if it's going to be a work lunch or if I'm going out to breakfast, eliminate those meals and plan from that. And make good use of leftovers for lunch so you're not always getting something out. So maintaining, imagine a hunger scale. That kind of goes hand in hand with mindfulness. You know, am I hungry or am I bored or am I sad? And assign a number to that hunger, and you know, set a limit. You know, if I'm not a 7, I'm not going to eat. I need to drink some water. I need to get up and move around. I need to, you know, take a break in some other fashion that doesn't involve food or eating. You know, your meal should take about 15 to 20 minutes. You know, it doesn't have to take a whole hour, but if you want to chew and enjoy each bite, breathe, put your fork down, you know, drink some water in between versus just hoovering the food and inhaling it. It's a very slow process. It takes about 20 minutes for the body to feel full. This is even harder for folks that are insulin resistant or what's called leptin resistant. Leptin's the hormone that tells you you're full. If you're insulin resistant, you might be leptin resistant, and it's harder for your body to tell or listen and hear that hormone that's telling you to stop eating, which is why you need to sit down and pay attention and slow things down some. So the hunger scale, for instance, 0 is your, you know, ravenous. 0 and 1 is ravenous, very, very hungry. You don't really want to wait till you get to that point because you're probably going to overeat. You know, the 5 is neutral, 7 is satisfied, you know, full, stuffed, and then, you know, 10 to the point of being sick. Hold on one sec. Just had to plug my phone in. So in line with that, never get totally empty. You know, like I said, every 3 or 4 hours, you know, have something to kind of hold you over. When we're totally empty and hungry, it's easier to get into temptation to, you know, if you're starving, you go to a restaurant and somebody walks by with a giant Alfredo meal, you're like, oh my God, that looks good. Okay, well, just this one time. So it's harder to give into, harder to stay away from temptation. You know, and likewise, as far as not getting empty, not just you, but your cabinets, try to keep healthy stuff available, because when it's not there, it's easier to make bad decisions, or it's easier to go, well, I'll eat the kids' gummy snacks, or I'll eat something else just this one time. I need to go to the store. So keep stuff on hand. Stock a flowing kitchen. Have some, quote, skinny staples on hand, like vegetables, salad ingredients, bagged salad, lean protein like chicken, fish, tofu, eggs, whole grain pasta or brown rice, things like that that you can just sling together for a meal. I do this myself, so I don't go through walnuts very quickly, and they're expensive. So we got the Costco size one, and I put it in the freezer, and I'll take a handful or 2 out in a Ziploc bag and smash it up and put it in the refrigerator. So I have nuts to top my salads, or I have crushed nuts ready to top my yogurt, for example. Having vegetables, salad ingredients on hand, having hard-boiled eggs on hand is good for me, because I'll eat them plain, or I'll have them to throw on the salad. You know, what happened? I think we came home and I was running late, and I needed a snack before I went to the gym, and I was like, oh man, what am I going to eat? And I was like, oh hey, I have eggs, so I got that. So being prepared to have something on hand. And then it takes, if you do the individual parts of labor ahead of time, it makes making a salad less labor intensive. Making a salad is kind of a pain in the behind, but if you already have your chicken made and chopped up, if you already had your hard-boiled eggs done, if you already had the nuts crushed, throw some cherry tomatoes in there and you're in business. So, or you could do a quick stir fry. If the brown rice is already made and you got some chicken, throw some vegetables in there and you got a stir fry. So think positive. Try not to think that you're on a diet, something's temporary, something's punitive. A lot of studies are in, the mind, and it starts there, so it might be in the way you think. You're on a journey, and you need to think like a winner. Manage unhealthy thoughts. I saw a girl post recently. She said, today I'm only going to think about the things I like about my body. So how many times do we spend the whole day thinking about what we don't like? So have positive self-talk and positive messages versus always negative. Activities that are non-food related, such as taking a bath, going to get a pedicure. I don't know, there's a new place that opened up here that's just like a foot massage place. Go get you a foot massage real quick. Drink water, brush your teeth. That was actually one of my stepmom's suggestions. When she has sweet cravings, she goes and brushes her teeth, because then you don't want to mess that up, or it's going to taste bad. Read a book, read a magazine, take a walk, do a craft, go play, miniature golf, or go throw the frisbee for the dog. Write these things down, because it can be hard to think of, in the moment. You might write it down and keep a list in your phone on the notepad or something like that. What can I do? I'm feeling hungry, but I don't think I am. Learn a new skill, help others, volunteer, do Sudoku, or a word search or something like that. Keep your hands and your brain busy. Investigate what works for you. Some folks, I don't think there's a cutoff and mandatory. Do not eat after 7 o'clock. You cannot eat after 9 o'clock. Because I eat after 9 o'clock all the time, and I seem to be okay. I haven't turned into a gremlin yet, but whatever works for you. Plan ahead when you dine out. Look up the menu online beforehand. We've gone out to dinner, and my husband looked over at me and goes, "Are you looking at the nutrition facts?" I said, "Yep." So I'm looking ahead at what's going to be there, what I'm interested in, what I really want, how I can manipulate my order versus getting there and going, "Oh man, that looks good, I'll have that." Consider sharing a meal, or go ahead and ask for a to-go box before they bring you the food. Say, bring a box of that, because I'm only going to eat half. And then you stretched your dollar and you've got lunch for tomorrow. Sometimes you might just have to tell them, no bread, no chips, don't even bring it here, because it's hard to stay out of. And then resist social pressures to eat. Tell people what your goals are, that you're working on things. Not now, maybe next time. Can I meet up with you guys afterwards? Things like that. Set boundaries, and don't let people pressure you into bad behaviors. And enjoy pleasant meal times. Like I said, I told you I have to be clean. I have to have taken a shower so I can enjoy my meal without feeling like, oh, I got to do something afterwards. You can sit and digest. Savor your meals. Try to eat them slowly. I used to work with surgical weight loss patients, and would encourage them to eat in an eating place so that you can focus on your meal and what you're eating. For example, sitting on the couch. The couch isn't really supposed to be an eating place. The car isn't supposed to be an eating place. Your desk really isn't supposed to be an eating place. I mean, we eat in these places, but that's not really what they're intended for. A table and chairs, away from distractions, helps you feel fuller faster. No phones at the table, unless you're alone. Maybe we want to be entertained, but try to focus on people again, and try not to get into mindless eating. So mindless eating is what happens when we allow social situations, emotions, pretty packaging, and labels to distract us. You know, if you take the whole bag with you to the couch, you're going to eat more than you probably would have if you take a bowl or something like that. So again, eating places, these are typically not eating places. This is funny, her with the popcorn, you know, just overindulging in that. So I include a red flag list. Take the time to remember what caused your previous weight gain, you know, and work against that. You know, if you know what behaviors cause the weight gain, write them down, and right next to them, write down how you're going to change that and do it differently. Put the list somewhere visible, like your bathroom mirror, so it'll be easier to stop the bad habits. And know yourself well enough to know that when you're falling back into bad habits, and wake up and get out of it. So, you know, having ice cream in the house is just a no-no for me. Having a box of cereal around is not good, because you can keep going back, at least in our case. So things like that. It'll be different for everybody. And the last but not least is never stop taking care of yourself. You are worth it. You know, a lot of us tend to put our needs last and other needs first, but if you're not taking care of yourself, how long can you actually take care of other people? So realize your self-worth, and set some boundaries and reinforce them and follow them. Aim for adequate sleep. You know, again, if your diet's not on point and your exercise isn't quite right, you can really aim for adequate sleep. You know, make sure it's dark in there, turn all the lights off, no electronics in the bed, TV only in the den, things like that. Drink water, plenty of water. Again, if nothing else, you can probably drink more water. Get regular physicals and dental checkups, and continue to keep track of your health. G, goal ladder. Drawing a goal ladder and write something you want to achieve on each rung. So, you know, set small goals, and once I get that, I'm going to go move on to this. Include miniature goals such as I won't dip into the office candy bowl all week, or, you know, and further up the ladder, I'm going to run a marathon, and kind of cross them off as you go, and it'll help keep you focused, future focused, and moving forward. So how much exercise is enough for weight maintenance? 80 minutes of moderate activity a day. That seems like a lot. I'm not sure that's right. Or 30 minutes a day of intense activity, running, aerobics, singles, tennis. I think maybe that 80 minutes a day is probably, you know, all-encompassing, including overt physical activity, maybe a physical, you know, activity of daily living, like walking from the parking lot into the office, things like that. Or pleasurable activities, things that don't burn much energy. So the folks that maintain the most weight, they track their food intake, calories or fat grams. They stay on top of it. They make themselves a case study. They follow a low-calorie, low-fat diet. I'd be more in the vein of low-carb type diet, especially if the fats you're choosing are healthy. Most folks will eat breakfast in the morning. They limit the amount they eat out to about 3 times a week, and fast food to, you know, rarely, never, and eat similar food regularly. So kind of find your favorite healthy items and reproduce those. For me, you know, I like to have chicken on hand. I like to have sweet potato hash browns on hand. I need to have nuts around. I need to have fruit around. And I need to have leftovers. So, oops. All right. And then weight maintainers don't splurge much on holidays and special occasions. They walk maybe about an hour a day. This is another thing you might examine. How much screen time are we getting? Not just TV screens, but maybe perhaps your electronic screens. You know, do you need to put your phone away, turn it off for, you know, a certain period of time during the day? And then they weigh themselves about once a week. So to review: activity, reward or remind, track your food intake and weight and physical activity, offer to help others, find your motivation, be mindful when you eat, arrange and plan your meal times, never get totally empty, so you don't go in that crisis mode. Think positive. Gosh, and Pinterest is great for that. You can find great positive messages, things like that. Even Instagram, sometimes you'll find some good stuff there. Activities that are non-food related, investigate what works for you. Enjoy pleasant meal times, include a red flag list, never stop taking care of yourself, and set goals that are specific and achievable and realistic, and keep progressing from one to the next. So remember, you guys are in control. Thank you for attending, and here is our various resources. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and then our blog is there, so you can find even more information on things that your health consultants have written about. Now, it is 12:52. I have a few minutes for questions if you guys have any. I haven't seen too many popping up. The one, I've got one here that says, are there certain fruits that should be limited, and how many servings a day are okay? A lot of people are hating on the banana lately. I don't hate the banana, but there is about 30 grams of carbs via natural sugar and fiber in the banana. So if you're going to eat them, and if there's the giant ones on the stack, I would say about half of that's a serving. And then, throughout the course of a day, I would suggest limiting yourself to 2 or 3 servings of fruit a day. Again, a serving, like an apple, is the size apple that comes in a bag, the small ones. You get the giant ones that come off the stack, that's probably about 2 servings. You could get away with half of that. A cup of berries, a cup of melon is typically a cup to a cup and a half of melon is a serving, things like that. And again, these are this is good information you might be able to find on the blog, or you might be able to get from your health consultant if you schedule an appointment with one of us. But other than, other fruits that should be limited, I'd say dried fruits and juices. When you dry fruit, you take out all the water, but it retains all the sugar and fiber that it has. So raisins, craisins, dried fruit, things like that, it's very dense in sugar, and a little goes a long way. And then juice, they just squeezed out the sugar and threw away the fiber. So, all right. No other questions so far. Again, if you guys would like the PDF of the slides sent to you, let me know, and I'll send it to you after the program, or later today, maybe tomorrow at the latest, and we will have a recording available that you can listen to after, I believe in the next 24, 48 hours, I'll have uploaded that to the link that you use to register. All right. Well, thanks for joining, and stay tuned for our next webinar. I believe that's navigating the grocery store or the supermarket, led by my friend Stephanie. I'll pull that up for you guys. Yeah, navigating the supermarket maze. Unfortunately, because of her work schedule, we can only run that one at 8 o'clock Eastern, but this will be a good kind of a virtual grocery store. She'll touch on food labels, choosing healthy foods, and cut your shopping time in half. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us. Y'all take care, and feel free to email me too as well if you have any questions. Wheatley, SWHEATLEY at truehealthdiag.com. Y'all have a good day.